Hello? Is somebody there? This is silly. There's no one else in the studio. Stephen will be in to prepare his show in a minute. And if I turn around again, nobody is going to be there. Nobody is going to be there.
Sorry, did I scare you?
No, Stephen. Not at all.
Is British springtime always this cold?
No, it's global warming. We'll be up to our necks in woolly mammoths soon. So there is a bright side.
It'd be all right if it was just cold outside. But it's so cold in here, too.
According to Kathy, our old boiler's acting up again. Tony's been on to the plumbers, but they can't get to it for at least a week.
It was terrifying. I couldn't help but feel that there was another presence in Studio B with me. Something otherworldly.
But you didn't see anything. Ghostly figures, strange lights.
Aliens infiltrating the record library.
You're so skeptical.
Annie was alone in a dark studio, feeling ill, playing some chilling music. I'd be surprised if she hadn't got spooked.
Yeah, that must have been it. It's all got a perfectly simple explanation. Thank you, Jax.
Why do I suddenly feel like I'm in Scooby-Doo?
Why are you two dressed like that?
Our visit to the probation officer. For me, it's a moment of recurring shame. For James, it's a regular date.
She's usually so sweet. But today was different. She didn't look me in the eye, and her little finger was jutting out at an odd angle. Could it be something to do with aliens colonizing the Earth?
Could it be something to do with you telling our probation officer she was the most beautiful woman you'd ever met?
That was a week ago. There's definitely something dodgy going on. I've been reading about crop circles, UFOs, and alien abductions. They're happening all the time.
I'm astonished.
That there's a conspiracy to keep us in the dark.
Not that you're reading anything that isn't on the back of a CD.
I've also been reading something rather disturbing. A bear called Paddington.
Disturbing? How?
The journey from Peru, Wellington's, the sheer alienation of his situation. This bear is all of us.
Hi. Is there room for me on that sofa?
It's like watching a wildlife show.
Is it cold in here, or is it me?
It definitely isn't you.
Kyla, I've been reading up on the subject of conspiracies and the paranormal. Don't you sometimes feel that someone is watching your every move?
Yeah, but then I live with my mum. So what do you think, Jax?
Oh, I don't believe in the supernatural. I think it's all pants.
What about UFOs?
Cloud formations.
Telepathy?
Coincidence.
Crop circles?
The young farmers.
So whose side are you on?
I think both your points of view are interesting.
Yeah, but one of them's right and the other one's wrong.
Kyla, are you aware of the strange phenomenon occurring in Studio B?
Yeah, Annie told me about it last night.
I think that studio's haunted.
I'm sure it was just my imagination. While we're on the subject, I think I'll do my show from Studio A next week. Boss, Stephen, do you want to swap around?
No thanks.
Sure. I ain't afraid of no ghost.
I'm going to look into this. I'm going to prove that something strange, something supernatural is occurring in Studio B.
I bet you won't.
I bet I will.
Okay, how much?
A date with Kyla.
James, I'm not an object that you guys can use as a wager.
Right.
Absolutely.
Having said that, may the best man win. They're fighting over me.
I think we just encountered a sinister force.
Come on, then. Let's examine the scene of the incident. No strange visions, no weird lights.
These plants aren't doing too well. You're not really stressed about this Kyla thing, are you?
Nah. Especially since in order to win the bet, you're going to have to prove the existence of the paranormal. Going up with Kyla will be a small thing in comparison with winning the Nobel Prize.
I hadn't thought of that. Where would I put a Nobel Prize?
You're not going to win one. I can't see anything weird about this room at all, so I guess we've proved...
We haven't proved anything. The ghost may only come out in the dark or during heavy rock shows. Hey, maybe it's something to do with heavy metal. One of those demons that all those guitarists with big hair were into.
You have no evidence at all.
Don't worry, mate. I'll get some.
I can't believe I'm missing the match for this.
During the daytime, Annie sensed a ghost. Maybe we'll have more luck seeing it now.
So why the torches? The station lights stay on all night.
Because the torch beams look great. Where are the light switches?
You're not switching the corridor lights off just to look cool.
But that's the whole point of being an investigator into extreme possibilities. You get to look really cool, examine sticky substances, and meet ghosts.
Have you ever considered that what Annie experienced wasn't a ghost?
You're saying that she was being watched by something real, something solid?
Maybe.
Like a genetic mutant or an alien bounty hunter?
Mr. Sanity has left the building. Couldn't we switch the lights on? The DJ in Studio A will wonder what we're up to in here.
Ghosts like the dark.
I think I'm coming down with that bug everybody else has. I can feel my sinuses filling up.
Maybe it's ectoplasm. Oh, scratch that theory.
I'm gonna get a cuppa. Do you want one?
Tar.
With or without ectoplasm?
With.
I'll see what I can do.
You still aren't looking very happy. I think I'm coming down with something. Annie, you certainly started. Jax, if that's you, don't tap me on the shoulder because I am bottling it. So, if it isn't you, what's behind me? Who's there? I'm imagining things. I must be.
Imagination? I doubt it, Mr. Derry. I doubt it very much.
Boss? What are you doing here?
I have vital information about this matter that you've blundered into. And when a friend offers you information, it is extremely unwise to refuse. Roy Patrick Harcourt, the most successful DJ on what was then City Beat Radio in 1974. He is the central player in this dark saga.
Boss, is this relevant?
Relevant? Oh, Mr. Jax, if you knew what I know, you would see that the line between relevance and trivia is a very thin one.
Could you just tell us what you found out?
All right. I found all this out in the radio station's archives. In 1974, Roy Harcourt was a star DJ. He knew Susie Quattro personally and had the ear of Mott the Hoople. But in the autumn of that year, he became unhappy. The listening public noticed the change in his formerly cheery disposition. And then something terrible happened.
Oh, that is terrible.
Poor Roy.
How did that get in there? On air one day in what we now call Studio B, Harcourt failed to notice that water had leaked from the ceiling onto his decks, electrifying the whole studio. He touched his microphone and perished.
So you're saying that this is Harcourt's ghost that we're dealing with?
I'm not saying anything, Mr. Derry, merely pointing out the spirit in which you should conduct this investigation. The truth is out there.
This Harcourt bloke is dead. He's erected his final antenna. He's been consigned to the smallest studio of them all. He's spun his final disc. He's ceased to broadcast. He's gone to work for the great program controller in the sky. He's an ex-DJ.
Who has taken up residence in Studio B again. I felt something, Jax. I felt somebody in the room with me.
So you want to tell Kathy about it?
She knows more about the history of this place than we do. She might be able to tell us more about Roy Harcourt.
Fleetwood Mac's Albatross. That was Roy's theme song. He played it underneath all of his intros. We worked together briefly at another radio station.
You weren't here when he was then?
No. We'd lost touch for a while when he died. Oh. He had a A little scar on his bottom lip, and he smelled of honey.
How do you know that?
Next question.
Was he interested in the supernatural?
Why do you ask?
Well, do you think Roy Harcourt might have returned from the dead to stalk Studio B as a restless ghost?
Yeah.
Record everything that happens once the experiment starts.
Okay.
Experiment starts now. Guys, why are we doing this? And why do you want me to keep playing Albatross?
No ectoplasm, no levitations, no ghosts. So, what kind of pizza do you think Kyla would prefer? Thin crust or deep pan?
Hold it. We have to talk to Stephen. Maybe he felt something.
I feel awful. My cold got a million times worse in the last hour. You guys used a sick man in a parapsychology experiment.
The ends justify the means.
And what if this ghost you're after had thrown me around the room or scared me to death?
I think we would have stepped in before that point.
I feel like I'm dying.
Too late to do me any good.
If you had died in the studio in weird circumstances, James would have won a date with Kyla.
It's not your fault. Maybe next time, eh?
You want me to go back in there?
Yeah, I have this theory.
That if I keep having to wait to go out with Kyla, it'll just slip my mind.
That this ghost is interested in you. When I felt something, I just mentioned your name.
I don't know.
We put a camera in the studio. If you feel anything weird, just click the shutter.
We'll be waiting outside to rush in and help you.
I'm sorry. I'm just still too nervous.
I thought you were a heavy mother, a real hard-rocking babe from hell.
Well, yes, technically. All right, I'll do it. Everything's fine. There's nothing to be afraid of. This is silly. This man Harcourt's been dead for over 20 years.
Here, Annie asked me to give you this. She's gone on home. She was scared senseless, James. What do you guys think you're doing?
We didn't scare her.
There's no such thing as ghosts.
How do you explain what Annie felt? The rumble she heard?
That's the old gas boiler trying to get going. Annie's got the flu. None of us are feeling well. And you're making it worse with your dumb ghost stories.
Deny everything. I understand.
Will you just stop? My dad died. He's dead, okay? And he isn't coming back as a ghost or otherwise. Knock it off. And apologize to Annie.
I think he's wrong. His dad is still haunting him.
I had no idea. I didn't mean to do that. Come on. Let's get this film developed and put an end to this. This doesn't provide the proof I'm after. There appears to be nothing strange about this photograph at all.
What did you expect? A big white sheet with a smiley face. Face it, mate, there's nothing there.
Don't start buying mouthwash. You haven't won that date with Kylie yet.
Look, if you want to complete this bet, let's do it scientifically. We check everything in Studio B, the electronics, the engineering, the air. If everything's normal, then I win, right?
Okay. So how do we do that?
We borrow your sister's chemistry set.
So, is this where you do your DJ stuff?
Some of it, yeah.
Why haven't you brought me here before?
Because I wasn't blackmailed about not being able to use your chemistry set before.
We've examined every electronic aspect in the studio and discovered nothing unusual. Now we're using the chemicals in these test tubes to work out if there's anything strange about the atmosphere in here.
So if the air's bad, these change colour?
Thank you for that explanation for the hard of thinking. It's pretty cool, right?
You're right, Bars.
I thought I could use this spooky stuff for Sunday's show. Get the listeners to call in with their ghostly experiences.
I thought you were doing girls dumping their boyfriends live on air.
I had a sudden surge of...
Scruples?
Where? Is it on my nose?
Scruples. Ethics. Morals?
Doesn't ring a bell. Anyway, so I'll be working in Studio B tonight, editing together a tape of Roy Harcourt shows. And if the ghost shows up, I'll interview him.
You don't believe in all this supernatural stuff, do you?
No.
So you must be pretty certain how this bet between James and Jax is going to work out.
So, are you two at each other's throats, competing ferociously, vying for my favour?
No, it's only a game.
Like you said, may the best man win.
Oh, well that's... good.
Agents Terry and Jax, I've uncovered some further facts that you may find of interest. Kathy Kane reports a feeling of lightheadedness in Studio B. Tommy Thompson taken ill following a show in there. Jim Partridge gets headaches just walking in there.
That seems to indicate an evil presence.
A bitter, angry presence. Roy Harcourt had just been refused a pay rise when he died. He argued with the program controller, marched into his studio, and died just when he was about to resign on air.
So that's why he's still here. He's got unfinished business. I think I can get this sorted out right now.
James, I am not entering into contract negotiations with a ghost. It's too weird.
It's not as if it would actually cost you anything.
Bizarre.
At the moment, it's just him. What if he and all the other dead DJs formed a union? Talk about flying pickets.
Get help.
Anything?
Nope. Normal reactions on everything. It's been an hour since they were exposed, so...
I hate to admit it, but I agree.
Good.
We haven't got any proof of anything, either way.
James!
All right. You win.
Thank you very much. The bet's over. The result's decided.
Is it?
Yeah, I suppose. So much for mystery. So much for romance. So much for...
James? James! Roy, if that's you, give me some advice. Who should I go out with, James or Jax? Academic, really. I'm dating Jax tomorrow. I shouldn't have got them all stirred up like that. Being boys, they won't be able to talk it over. They'll fight and they'll fight and... Stop watching me like that.
What I like about you is you're rational. You wouldn't get all guilty if you beat someone else at a bet. And you certainly wouldn't let it get in the way of a professional partnership, right?
What I like about you is that you're... But I mustn't torment myself. You wouldn't get all jealous if Mulder had a date with somebody else, would you? Yeah, actually, you probably would. But you wouldn't let that jealousy get in the way of a professional partnership, right? Right. Hello?
Hi. You okay?
Yeah, mate. I've stopped sneezing since I left the station.
Me too. Good. So, want to sneak into the match tomorrow?
You're doing something tomorrow, aren't you?
Oh, evening, not day. Maybe not evening, you know. I haven't made up my mind, you know. You could come along.
Sorry, I've got something going down that night. You know.
Okay.
Okay.
So, about the show on Sunday. Yeah, but what we really need...
So, Roy, were you a good DJ? Or were you like Gary Charles with his Friday night request show? If I called in and asked, do you think he'd stop?
Stay tuned now. This is Roy Harcourt singing in the earliest hours of 1973. Hey, it's late. Are you tired?
You know, Roy, I think I am.
Our New Year party continues till dawn with all your favourite music.
You what? There is no way that I'm going to play that. Not after...
James, what does it mean when they do this?
Jax.
We're coming to the end of our New Year party. Hey, I've had a smashing time. I hope you've had one too. So until we meet again, take care. This is Roy Harcourt, and that's the end of the show, folks. Kyla? Kyla, wake up. You must wake up. The boiler's been going wrong. The air conditioning's been pumping out all sorts of gases into the studio like carbon monoxide. That's why everybody who comes in here feels weird. You must wake up. If you don't, you'll die. Wake up! That's it. Just get to the door, open it, and let some clean air in. That's just a few feet. A few feet. That's it.
There's an ambulance on the way. They'll have some oxygen.
We've opened all the doors and switched the boiler off.
Jax's experiment for impurities didn't work in the cold. It only started to react in the heat of Martha's room.
We tried to call, but the request show jammed the phone lines into the studio, and there was no one in the office.
I don't believe it. You two saved my life.
We just pulled you out. You already had the door propped open.
I feel sick.
I don't blame you. James has won the bet. He proved there was something strange going on in Studio B.
But you proved it wasn't supernatural.
I saw and I heard...
Well, don't try to speak.
Tell us about it later.
I made a full recovery, and the boiler was repaired that night by Gas Emergency Services. Saving me together seems to have resolved the dispute between my two potential boyfriends. They've started to cooperate in dating me. One big pizza, after all, is cheaper than two medium. As to what the others felt and heard while they were being poisoned by the gas, it is possible that they fell prey to suggestion that because James mentioned a ghost, they encountered one. But this reporter knows what she thinks. Thanks, Roy.